Welcome back to Florida Pediatric TV. We are now at the end of the second week of the 2013 legislative session. And again this year we're very fortunate to have former Representative Sam Bell represent us in front of the Florida legislature. Sam, there are a tremendous number of kids issues on the agenda for such an early date in the session. Could we first talk about the Medicaid expansion? That is the expansion that the Affordable Care Act, the Supreme Court ruled as optional, the expansion that would include young adults on the Medicaid program. Right.
There are really two or three issues that we ought to talk about, and health care this session is really probably one of the largest issues that the legislature is going to be dealing with. First, we are continuing with the implementation of statewide Medicaid managed care. Federal CMS has indicated that they are going to grant the waiver for that statewide expansion, and your Florida Pediatric Society has been very active in contacting the federal government, attempting to make sure that children's issues are at the forefront and included as conditions in that waiver. In addition to the statewide Medicaid expansion, there's also the expansion of Medicare to all people under 138% of the poverty level. While this doesn't affect directly children, since most children are already covered either by Title 21 or Title 19, this is an important piece of the health care puzzle. Both the House and the Senate have at this time rejected the expansion, which would be funded 100% by federal money, although the governor has come out in support of it. The most interesting aspect of this is that Senator Joe Negron, the chair of the Senate Appropriations Committee, has set forth an alternative that would be a type of managed care for this population that would be added, and we're going to be watching that closely as we go forward, along with our continuing efforts on the issue of paying physicians, primary care physicians, at the Medicare level, which was supposed to go in effect January 1 of this year, but we're still waiting for an implementation of that provision.
Yes, and as our listeners know, the self-attestation form is the big stumbling block at this point. In order for physicians who see children and who fit within the categories of specialty that are specified in the Affordable Care Act, they will have to submit a self-attestation form to the Agency for Healthcare Administration. The agency has been stating that they are waiting for the feds to approve a form a sample form which they submitted to them. However, our conversations with the American Academy of Pediatrics indicate that the state can issue the form. They don't need federal approval, and we're trying to sort that out at this moment. And in fact, that brings us to the topic of our Medicaid lawsuit, which, as you know, the trial ended in April of 2012. We're still waiting on the judge to rule. There is a hearing in Miami today with our attorneys in front of Federal Judge Jordan related to how the Affordable Care Act impacts the issues with our Medicaid lawsuit. And just to remind everyone, the Affordable Care Act limits the physicians who would receive Medicare rates to those whose specialty is either pediatrics, family practice, or internal medicine, or whose subspecialty is one of the subspecialties under those three primary care boards. And so, like orthopedists and ENTs and dermatologists, et cetera, would not receive the increased rates under the Affordable Care Act, whereas under our lawsuit, all of those physicians would indeed receive enhanced payments, as well as dentists would receive enhanced payments. And of course, dentists are not addressed by the Affordable Care Act. Another big topic of discussion this week, Sam, was kid care presumptive eligibility. And let me just preface that with the fact that under the Affordable Care Act, hospitals are empowered to do presumptive eligibility on Medicaid patients, be they children or adults. But what does the Florida bill do?
Well, this is an important bill, and obviously we have to keep in mind that despite all of our best efforts, there are still more than 400,000 children in Florida that have no insurance coverage. What this particular bill does is to expand the presumptive eligibility to providers other than hospitals. Hospitals have that right under the Affordable Care Act as of January 1, 2014. The bill, which Representative Harrell is sponsoring, passed its first committee this past week, and we're enthusiastically hopeful that this will become law and allow that. Her bill also is effective January 1st of 2014. So that was an exciting step forward.
Yes, and that should go a long way to solve the big problem that we pediatricians have, where newborns don't get declared eligible in a timely manner in order to get proper follow-up. Another topic is the non-citizen eligibility for kid care. Where does that stand?
Well, it's not doing quite as well. The bills have been filed in the House and Senate, and it would make eligible non-citizen legal aliens. We've been in a wrestling match with AAP that has maintained that the bill would reach out to illegal aliens, which is not the case. And they took that position and put a fiscal note on it of $500 million. So we're working with them now and hope that that bill can move forward.
One wonders whether staff wanted to sabotage that issue. Another topic on everyone's mind is the issue of updating our booster seat laws. As you know, Florida now is one of only 2 states who have not updated their booster seat laws, and that bill is not moving anywhere yet. Where's that going?
Well, let me give you the good news first. The good news is that the texting while driving bill, which we also support and are actively involved in its passage, is moving along well, and we believe, frankly, that that bill could become law in the next week. So that's the good news. The bad news is that the booster seat bill has not been heard, and we're getting indications that it may not be heard this session again. So we're continuing to work on it, and we have meetings with the Speaker next week and with the Senate leadership to see if we can get it out of committee and get it moving. But right now, the good news is the texting bill.
And let me say we're very appreciative of the fact that Dr. Chris Dieter, who is a pediatric critical care physician at Joe DiMaggio Hospital, came to Tallahassee this week to appear at a press conference for the booster seat legislation, and also testified regarding the presumptive eligibility issue and the texting while driving issue. And we very much appreciate Dr. Dieter taking the time to come and help us with those issues. There's also a bill related to foster care normalization. Where does that stand?
That bill also is moving very well, and this is one that would allow foster care parents and foster homes to give some protection from liability when they allow children to do things that normal children get to do, like playing sports, going to the beach, and other activities that might put them in harm's way. And this is designed to give them a more normal life. One of the children was testifying that they weren't able to even get a driver's license because they never could get out to learn how to drive. And that's the sort of thing you can't expect a person to age out of foster care and immediately be successful in life if they don't even have a driver's license. So we're very excited about that bill. And also I wanted to underline what Dr. St. Petrie said about Dr. Dieters coming to Tallahassee. I think she really made a difference in her day here. She not only participated in the booster seat press conference, but she went to several meetings and was able to offer support for bills that we were working on. And I would encourage other members of the Pediatric Society to come to Tallahassee and be a part of this. We're glad to have you, and we would love to take you in and put you to work.
Another issue that's receiving national attention is the issue of detecting critical congenital heart disease early in life, and that in Florida goes under the name newborn screening pulse oximetry. Where does that bill stand?
Well, that bill is one that the lead on that is the American Heart Association. A lot of other people have been working on it and supporting it, and we have as well. The bad news is that right now the bill itself does not appear to be moving, but there is hope that we can fund the implementation of that screening and follow-up in the budget so that we can accomplish the same goal. The fact is that most all hospitals are already performing this test, and what is really needed is for DOH to be able to follow up on these situations.
Yeah, DOH needs to issue rules so that the test is done properly so that you actually do detect those kids with critical congenital heart disease. And finally, there's an issue on the sudden unexpected infant death issue as it relates to the child protection teams.
Right. This bill was filed early before session, and Dr. Alexander and others who work with the child protective teams came to us and said, we pediatricians who are involved with the child protective teams need to be involved with the sudden infant death issue. We need to be involved in the training for first responders and in developing the protocols for handling these types of cases. We have been able to get language into both the House and Senate bills that includes the child protective teams, and those bills are moving. So we're encouraged that that's going to become law.
Thank you very much, Sam. That's it for this week. As usual, please contact me if you have questions or other issues that we haven't addressed, and we'll be back next week with a further update.